I'm Clive Barwell. I'm an accredited member of the Society of Later Life Advisors. I've been in financial planning since the early 1970s, and I now consider myself to be one of the leading financial planners in the UK later life market today. In simple terms, inheritance tax is a tax that can be charged when you die on the value of assets that you leave to beneficiaries who don't benefit from an exemption. A surviving spouse, a charity, for example, benefit from exemptions. Children and grandchildren don't. Inheritance tax is an important topic for most of my clients because they have children and grandchildren and they're really keen to leave them an inheritance, and they feel quite aggrieved that, having paid tax throughout their lifetime, that there's yet another tax to pay after they die. Consistently over the years, government statistics show that only 3% of the people who die in the United Kingdom actually pay inheritance tax. So the vast majority of people, particularly those living outside of the southeast of England, who just have a relatively ordinary house and a little bit of savings and investments, probably are unlikely to have to pay inheritance tax. So like all of my services, if somebody's got an inheritance tax issue, I'll call and see them at our expense and their convenience. I'll look into their overall financial situation, understand what their hopes and concerns are for the future. If they have got an inheritance tax issue, then I'll explain to them the sort of things that they can do. Quite often I find that the people don't have an inheritance tax issue, and I'll happily tell them that as well. There's been a lot of press coverage in recent times. I suppose the most famous case was Jimmy Carr trying to avoid income tax, and the government generally is clamping down on tax evasion. What we need to understand is the clear difference between tax evasion and tax avoidance. What I recommend to clients is tax avoidance, which is merely using the allowances and exemptions which are available as part of the law. I recently talked to a client who lives in the southeast of London, whose property alone is probably worth £1 million, and with her savings and investments, she has quite a substantial inheritance tax problem. Using the cash flow forecasting tools that are available to me, we were able to look forward into the future and understand how much she would need in the way of savings and investments and income. And we identified that she had surplus savings that she could give away to her sons, and also surplus income that she could use to fund inheritance tax planning arrangements. So if you have an inheritance tax problem, or if somebody in your family has an inheritance tax problem, or you think you may have an inheritance tax problem, then please get in touch with me either by telephone, by email, or by completing the form on my website.